What's up, my PT peeps and my Walking Dead family? One Eyebrow back to talk about The Walking Dead Season 8 and do a discussion about Old Man Rick, the flash forward timeline. Is it real or Rick's dream? Obviously, spoiler warning, if you're not up to date with the show, you don't know what we're talking about, or you just don't want to know this information, stop watching now if you don't want to know. But for those who want to know and discuss it, here we go. Now remember, it's discussion. I don't have the answer to this. I'm leaning towards it's a dream though, based on some information. So let's talk about it. And I want to know your thoughts, guys. So Rick wakes up from sleeping. He hits the alarm clock, walks downstairs. He's got a crazy beard, and it's clearly a time jump in the future. Obviously, Rick does not look like that when we saw him in previous parts of the episode, but is it real or not? I don't know 100%, but I believe it's a dream. He's not in a coma. He's not in a dream state like, oh, he's going to wake up and Lori's going to be alive and stuff. But this is clearly an homage to Season 1, Episode 1. But the dream state we saw before in Season 7, Episode 1, where the future that Rick would possibly want to see. Does he do that again? Because the table scene here, the Sunday dinner scene, whatever you want to call this, is not real. It's what Rick would want to see happen. You know, Abraham is gone, Glenn is gone, and it's just a flash forward of a future that he would want to see, but never happened. So it's a dream sequence. So did he do that again? I love this sequence in 701. It's one of my favorite episodes of Season 7. There's not too many of them, but I just love seeing everybody together. But obviously it's a dream sequence because Abraham's gone, Glenn's gone, the baby's not born yet, and I hope the baby is born in Season 9 because they're saying it's not in Season 8. But Glenn, Abraham, they're not there anymore. And so the dream sequence was clearly set up in 701. So they could do it again, right? 801 is just one season later. They could be like, let's do another dream sequence. We can do that too. The interesting thing is that during the dream sequence, you see a Judith next to Carl with the hat on. So if you saw my latest video about something, is that foreshadowing even more so? I don't know. But the table sequence, dream sequence, that is a pattern that they may have tried to reproduce. I think it makes sense. What do you think, guys? Do you think, well, this was clearly a dream sequence. That's no debate. And we talked about, the table arrangements to show who was going to die in the season. But do you think they redid the dream sequence for Season 8? I'm going to talk about it, why I think so, in a second. But I want to know your thoughts, guys. Post your comments below. So let's get back to 801. So like Rick wakes up, got a huge beard, flowers, homage, or callback, whatever you want to call it, to Season 1 when Rick was in the hospital. Then we see Rick wake up, huge beard, different haircut. You're like, oh man, that's a little weird. But if you know the comics, you're like, oh man, they're doing the Old Man Rick thing after the war with Rick Grimes looking like comic Rick. He's got a cane, walking around because if you know, Negan and Rick fight. Rick breaks his leg, walks around with a cane now for majority of the comics. So then he walks downstairs. They're clearly in Alexandria in the same house, just with different furniture and stuff inside. Rick's rocking a robe and a cane, and he's walking around, comes around the corner, and we see Michonne. Now, Michonne looks exactly the same. She actually looks younger, so she didn't age at all, but Rick is pretty old. So you're like, all right, that's kind of weird. Rick would be old, Michonne would be older. And then at this point here, we have a song playing throughout the entire part. It's Another One Rides the Bus by Weird Al Yankovic, which is a parody of Another One Bites the Dust by Queen. And they pick that song on purpose? A parody, an imitation of something that is, not the real deal, but something that's a remix of it, basically. And the other thing is Carl walks by the screen super fast. It's blurry, but Carl is there. At least it sounds like Carl. And I'll talk about that in a second. But Michonne clearly looks the same age, if not younger. Rick looks like an old man, super old man. So that's the discrepancy, right? Or maybe it's just different for the comic because Rick is drawn as an old man and Michonne looks the same in the comic as she did from the very beginning, basically. Maybe a little bit older, but not like Rick. Then Judith comes around the corner, talks to Rick about festival and this, and they build an owl. And it's clearly an older Judith. And people were like, how old is Judith? Well, we have some confirmation that she's 6 years old. So the time jump, flash forward, would be about 3 years around that time. Maybe between 2 to 4 years, basically. And it's a different actress, which makes sense to play an older Judith of the 2 to 4 year time jump. So that's like, oh, I could buy into that. That's a little different. Just Rick looks pretty old compared to everybody else. Then they go outside. And to me, it's representing Alexandria. they're like, oh, it looks more like the hilltop. But this house is definitely not the hilltop that they're standing in right there. It's definitely the house in Alexandria. They go outside. The future is built like the comic right here. They have a lot of different structures, a lot of different homes. The architecture is different because of the materials that they used to probably build the house after the war. There's some massive explosions, and Alexandria gets blown up pretty good, and they have to rebuild probably with the materials and stuff that the hilltop people can build stuff. So that makes sense. The future holds a new beginning, a new area of Alexandria, and some new homes. And that's one of the 4 timelines that are in the episode 801. Another timeline, we see Rick being upset, and I look at the color on his face. You see a rainbow that looks to be a prism from the stained glass there, and I believe it's that shot the light coming through there onto his face, and Rick looks very sad. Who is he looking at? I'm not sure where this is exactly. It's not this shot because you don't see any of that stained glass around him, and this is Glenn and Abraham's graves, so it's not connected there. But a couple different times we see Rick's eyes are very red, like he's upset, like he's crying, like something major happened. Now, and he says, my mercy prevailed over my wrath. So did he give mercy over Negan? Is he merciful for something? Is he regretful for not taking out Negan because someone died? Only time will tell. Again, it's a discussion video, guys, but we have a big video that we posted yesterday about a huge potential death that makes sense why Rick is so upset, because this person may have died, this character may have died on the show, and it would make sense. It's terrible to hear, and it's not confirmed 100%, but it would make sense why Rick is so upset. So I'm going with this timeline flash forward is not set in stone. It could be a dream sequence. It could be the future that Rick wants to see, that Rick is safe and sound and he can grow to be an old man and have Michonne and Carl and Judith grow up to be older. And it just could be a dream of the future that Rick wants to have. It doesn't mean that it is set in stone, that it's an exact flash forward, that the show will catch up to that. It just is one path that Rick wants to see or may happen. So what do you think, guys? Post your comments below. I want to know your thoughts on this topic. Is it real or a dream? And if you can, guys, check out my book series, Fight for Us, on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, Kindle versions. We got books 1, 2, and 3 out now. Working on book 4. It's Fight for Us, the beginning, Fight for Us Reunited, and Fight for Us Refuge. And I'm working on Conquered right now. That's book 4. The Walking Dead news, guys. If you like this channel, definitely check out that channel as well. We're going to be posting more and more videos on that channel. Instagram, Twitter, at the PT channel. Post stuff there all the time. And it's a great way to message me for any content or questions you may have. Walking Dead community, another great way. If you're on Facebook, we have a group and a page, and I'm on Facebook as well. So give us a follow for that. And if you can, guys, hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends, tell your family to join our channel, our group, and our community to help us achieve our goal of 100,000 subscribers. You guys are awesome, and thank you for watching.